Okay, hello everybody. This is going to be the first of many blogs, I hope, uh, that are going to expound a little bit on issues that I have with some things that are going on with the church. It's also going to be a Bible study that goes a little bit more in depth than just the Jonah and the whale or Jesus walking on water or the bread and the loaves and the fishes. Although those are good, don't get me wrong. Those are good stories, but I feel that they've been repeated so many times that a lot of things are just getting overlooked. A lot of the stories have kind of become a Christian mythology, and we've just kind of gotten away from what an actual Christian entails. Uh, Today, if you notice, is, well, actually it's nighttime right now, Halloween. And so I figured the best way to start off these blogs is to just go in head first into some subjects that some people may not like, and it might be a little bit controversial to some people, but I'm just going to address it because it needs to be addressed. Okay, so that being said, here's your first Unshakeable Christian blog. Being that today is Halloween, I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of stuff having to do with zombies, having to do with witches, having to do with vampires, having to do with the living dead, the walking dead, and a bunch of that stuff. And I'm going, what is wrong with Christians? We're told in the Bible that we should avert ourselves from evil. Stay away from evil. Don't give foothold to the devil. These are all scriptures that are just clearly laid out for us as Christians. There's no place for just mingling and merging ourselves with this. But yet, over and over and over again, I see Christians just adamantly talking about The Walking Dead, talking about Dexter, talking about the Twilight series, talking about all these things, True Blood, American Horror Story, all these things. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying to myself, why aren't you not getting that this is against the Christian faith? So let's break down what some of these groups represent. First, you have your zombies. And I understand that some people are going to argue, well, it's just entertainment, and there's no problem with just a little bit of this and that. And, hey, it's been going on for years. Well, yes, it has. And it needs to stop with Christians. Zombies are the damned. Damned, yeah. Why would any Christian look at and be a part of anything that's labeled the damned? Is controversial. It's a contradiction. Secondly, let's look at what a zombie actually is. A zombie is a resurrected dead person who has been infected by another zombie and eats human flesh, specifically the mind. So you have something that is resurrected from the dead and is evil. Jesus was resurrected from the dead and he is good. Sounds like a direct opposite of what Jesus is. Secondly, you have something that eats flesh, eats the blood and the brains of something else. Now, I do get that there's kind of like this whole subliminal messaging of guarding our minds against evil, but come on, really, there's nothing Christian about it. To kill a zombie, what do? You gotta cut its head off. Decapitation. Not Christian. Eating brains, not Christian. Half-decayed beings that have been resurrected from the dead, not Christian. You can say that you watch it for the entertainment value, you watch it because, hey, somebody is coming against evil, but in all reality, most of the people that are watching these kind of shows are doing it for the blood, the guts, and the gore. So, that being said, let's move on to the second one, the vampire thing. Okay, so if you look back onto the history of vampires and where they supposedly originated, you're going to find out that there's like two main areas. You have Dracula and you have Lilith. Now, Lilith is really against the whole Christian faith. I mean, Lilith is supposedly the first wife of Adam, if you look at, depending on which version you look at. Okay? And so, according to this legend, or myth, or whatever you want to call it, Lilith would not subject sexually to Adam. And so she went off on her own, and guess who she spawned with? A demon. Some myths say Satan himself. And so she started spawning these demons and these vampires, and that's where the race of vampires come from, if you go with the Lilith. The other one is, of course, from the whole Dracula thing, that book, and that mythology. Well, the thing is, it's based upon a real character named Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad the Terrible, or Vlad the Conqueror, depending on who you look at, okay? But the main thing is that this guy killed a great deal of his own people. He didn't just kill them, he impaled them, hence the Vlad the Impaler. Okay? There's also tales that he drank blood, which is where the whole vampire thing comes into effect. Now, from a Christian point of view, first off, you're advocating a guy that committed genocide. Second of all, you're advocating drinking of blood. Now, the Bible tells us that we are not to take and eat the blood of any animal. And for those of you who want to say, oh, that was in the Old Testament, that's been done away with. Well, it's restated in the New Testament that we're not supposed to consume blood. So that kills that argument. Lastly, again, vampires are referred to as the damned. The damned. Again, the damned. How can a Christian yoke up with something that's the damned? These are just two examples. Two. Okay? So, you have these things that are called the damned. You have these things that are called the undead. You have these things that are spirits. You have witches and warlocks that conjure up spells, all under the wonderful entertainment of being, you know, charmed, or, I mean, I know that's an old one, charmed, or, you know, once upon a time, or grim, or any of these things where they start to use these witches that just sit there and wave their hands around in the air and do the little ball thing and all that. It's all witchcraft, y'all. It's all witchcraft. And the thing is, we're advocating this. And then the churches want to know why God's not moving and why we're not seeing the movements that we saw back in the day. That's the answer. We as Christians have done this whole thing where, oh, it's just entertainment. It's okay. As long as we don't, you know, let it affect us, it's just entertainment. Well, let's break down some things. Number one, anything you watch on TV is indoctrinating you. Okay, you're being indoctrinated. Let's just give a couple of examples here. If I were to say da 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 da, I'm loving it, you would know that it's McDonald's. If I was to say just do it, you know it's Nike. If I was to say the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's theme, most people would know that. Okay? Now, let's go a step farther with things. Okay? If I was to start playing the most people would recognize which horror film that came from. I'd recognize it. I watched a lot of them before I got saved. Here's the thing. If you can recognize those commercial things and you can recognize the themes, do you not think that Satan is clever enough to put in his doctrine into these kind of movies? It has been documented. There's documented movies on this, to where producers and various filmmakers have put in their own religious things. Here's a clear example of that. In the movie Noah with Russell Crowe, it was made by an atheist, guys, an atheist, who stated that he wanted to make the most non-Christian Christian movie out there. Now, this is not a horror movie, and yet you could see that was in his doctrines were in there. Now let's think of Satan, and let's think about how he's presenting these zombies and these witches and these vampires and these werewolves and everything else. He puts it off as being entertainment, and he puts it off as being harmless. But yet your mind is taking in killing after killing after killing, murder after murder. Then you're taking in demons and you're saying, hey, they're cute and lovable little characters that are in these shows. They're not cute and cuddly. Don't start giving me comments saying there's nothing, you're advocating the cute and cuddliness of demons. No, I'm not. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to present a valid point to you. That you're seeing these demons and you're seeing these characters and you're making them into fantasy. You're making them into myth. You're discrediting what is real and what is valid. There are demons and principalities in the air, people. And what we've done as a church and as Christians by taking in this as entertainment is we have turned them into a myth. We have turned them into a false character, creature. Because what we do is we say, hey, it's a demon. Oh, I saw that demon in The Walking Dead. Oh, I saw that kind of thing in Wishmaster. Or I saw that in, Once Upon a Time. I saw that in Charmed. I saw that in Harry Potter, And yeah, I just attacked all of those, saying that they all have demonics in them. Comment on it, bash me, I don't care. It's the truth. So what we're doing is we're taking all these things in and we're saying that there's no harm in it. Guys, we got to wake up. We got to strap on our armor. We have to be the men of God that men of God should be. Now, Ephesians tells us that we have to have our full armor on. Isaiah 59 tells us we need to put on our cloak of zeal and our garments of vengeance. I've said it to a lot of people and I'll say it here. You do not put on armor to go to peaceful talks. You put on armor to go to war. We are at war with the devil, and we are at war with the principalities and the demons that dominate this land. The time to be timid is over, guys. I mean, look about what's going on with the world. Let's think about some things that have parallels. People are starting to be decapitated. Granted, this is mainly because of the religious beliefs of certain parties. I'm not going to say which because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. But it can also be attributed to the media as well. On these shows where decapitation has become a norm. I recently saw another video and another newscast where a man bit a guy in the neck. An artery. Just bit him right there. Now come on, where do you think that thought originated? We have to wake up as Christians. We have to put on our full armor of God, and we have to avert from these evils that are pertaining to all the things that we're saying is entertainment. Don't follow the fallen. Get away from it. There's so many good things out there on TV and in the entertainment, and there's so many good things that we as Christians can be advocating. Why do we feel the need to advocate murder and witchcraft and demonics? It's sad. If we want to know what's going on in our world and why things are going the way they are, it's because there's truth and there's consequences to our actions. I would urge anyone that's looking at this post to read about the armor of God. I would also urge anyone looking at this post to read Amos. I know it's one of those small books that you kind of overlook, but read it. There's a phrase in there that says, "Can two walk together unless they're in an accord? Can a bird fall into a trap if there's not a snare?" It keeps on going, though. And it says, "Can evil be done in the land and God not see it?" God is not going to just sit by passively and let evil continue. There will be consequences for our actions. There will be reaping for the sowing. There is a season, and that's not just a song from the 60s and 70s, guys. There is a season for everything. There's a time to reap and a time to sow. What are we sowing when we say that it is okay for us to follow these damned? The damned. What are we saying? Are we saying as Christians that it's okay to have a divided house? Are we saying that it is okay to murder, steal, pillage, and plunder? Are we saying that we would rather side with the devil and yoke with the devil because it's more entertaining? I understand that these are some harsh concepts to consider, and that some of you are probably pretty ticked off at me at this time. But as I said, the time to be timid is over. Gear up, become a man of God, or just say that you're a hypocrite and you're an imposter. Guys, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to spread hate. I say this out of love, because I think a bunch of people have gotten blinded and have yoked themselves up with things that are really damaging not only the church, but personal lives as well. So, I hope I wasn't too rash with this blog post, but guys, this is what I'm going to be giving y'all. I'm going to be giving you the truth. I'm going to be giving it to you straightforward, and I really do hope that this first post incites some people to look within themselves and to see and to check themselves on various aspects in their life. Let me know what you think about this post, comments, or visit our website, www.unshakeablechristian.com. Thanks. God bless.